And sir, good morning po. Given the absence of the Vice President as of the moment, would you say that the House Appropriations Panel's recommended 733 million budget for OVP is a justified one and the 2 billion is unjustified? That's my question po.
You can't answer that question whether justified or not because we haven't even tackled it on the floor. And the reason why we can't tackle it on the floor is because she's absent. She's not here. You know what? Anything can happen during plenary debates. It has happened many times. May iba nagre-recommend ng dagdag budget, dagdagan. Kung nakikita naman nila na maganda at maayos, di ba? May pa nga nagre-recommend na kung pwede, doblehin pa. So sa akin, di ba, until such time that she is here, then we will know and find out from the members of Congress what our position is with regards to the recommendations on the Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you. Are you done with your question, Lenesca? Okay. Next question from Red Mendoza of Manila Times.
Hi po, good morning po. First question po. Kong Jill, yung sinabi niyo po na you're not necessarily pushing pero you're necessarily parang pushing na rin for the Vice President to resign. Of course, she's voted by 32 million people. She's voted by more people than the President. And meron din siyang cadre of bloggers and supporters na pwedeng kalkalin ang buhay ninyong mga congressman. Kinakalkal na nga yung buhay ng mga quadcom eh. So ano pong ma-expect niyo po dito? Kasi you're basically treading on a landmine here kasi the Vice President has so many supporters.
Trabaho lang po, walang personalan.
Next question na lang po and my last question. Sinabi po ng isang columnist namin, si Manu Tequia, na you're being compared to an mafia. You're being compared to a mafia code of honor, yung rules and yung mga pag-open ng budget, presentation and all. And I quote her, Omerta, the mafia's code of honor is embraced by the very institution elected by the voters to stand for their interests. And the rules are bent to suit their ends. Truly, he who has gold rules is the only rule honored in this chamber. What's your comment on that po, na parang you're acting like daw po a mafia?
She's entitled to her own opinion. Bahala siya.
As Kong Jill said, we're just working with the rules here. We're nagtatrabaho lang po kami. I appreciate the questions, Red, no, but they seem to be politically charged. So I think we'll just leave our work to speak for itself po siguro.
Ako, nabanggit mo yung 32 million, siguro ang isang opinion ko na lang doon. Respetuhin niya yung nagtiwala sa kanya para may luklok siya sa pwesto. At gampanan niya yung trabaho bilang vice-presidente.
Thank you.
And with regards to the landmine that you mentioned, yeah, it's been happening for the past 8 months, so it's nothing new.
Thank you. Kenneth Basilio from Business World.
Hello, magandang umaga po. So help us understand na lang po, no? State economic managers said they formulated the national budget with the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028 in mind. So just to contextualize, the PDP places focus on promoting human social development, agriculture modernization, and domestic industry revitalization, among others. A review of the proposed budget shows that allocations to the agriculture, health, and social welfare departments were slashed, with the MSME Development Fund only at 2.3 billion. This is to support the 1.1 million micro, small, and medium enterprises that we have right now po. And the agriculture budget allocations stagnated po kasi when compared to the total economy po. Why does it seem na parang may disconnect between the Philippine Development Plan and the formulated proposed national budget po? And what could Congress do to ensure the budget adheres to the said plan po?
Well, definitely, the budget is there to support the objectives and goals of the Marcos administration. With regards to appropriation of funds, ang dami kasing factors ang dapat natin i-consider, such as utilization, efficiency, such as continuing funds that have to be put into consideration. So, but given the performance of the Marcos administration to date in addressing inflation, we've been very good. Inflation numbers are going down. When it comes to improving the lives of Filipinos, I think Filipinos are more positive with regards to their output when it comes to their state and their state of life. Kung titignan po natin yung continuous social amelioration programs na ini-implement across the nation, that is unprecedented. It has never been done, and it's only being done by the Marcos administration. So with respect to the goals of the Philippines under the Philippine Development Plan, I think we are still very much on track. With regards to the budget and the finances and the funds that are required to meet those goals, with regards to agriculture, infrastructure, and social development.
Yun din, to add lang. Alam naman po natin, usually, pag nasa ground ka, sinasabi nila yung Philippine Development Plan is napakagandang wish list. Sinasabi nila yan eh. Pero I beg to differ na alam natin na inaaral po yan bago naman po hinahain ng NEDA yan eh, na pag-aralan po maigi yung mga plano saka mga pangangailangan po ng national and local governments. Pero ang realistic side po niyan, hindi naman po lahat kasi talaga mapopondohan. Saka medyo kukulangin pa rin tayo sa pondo. Pero what this institution is doing dito po sa House of Representatives, on our part, yun nga, sabi ni DSJJ, tinitignan din natin kung paano po ginagastos yung mga nakaraang budget, yung burn rate, yung utilization rate. Kung yung mga specific agencies po, yung mga departments po na iba, hindi maganda po yung paggamit ng pondo. Kunwari, meron pong utilization rate na 3% lang. Bakit ganun po? So, siguro, hindi po karapat-dapat na mabigyan pa ng prioritization yung mga sectors na yun. So, it's really a tight balancing act. Pero syempre, wala naman pong sino mang leader o sino mang head ng ahensya na hindi po gustong mapondohan lahat ng priority na programs niya.
Just an addition lang po siguro in relation to the question. I think the government is still committed to following these development goals, if ever. But just for consideration po, no, it's not as simple as just looking at the budget in which departments were slashed. As mentioned by Congressman Ortega, definitely one thing that we look at is utilization rate. As much as we want to prioritize certain departments, when their utilization rate doesn't justify it, we can't give them the whole amount. But in addition to that, we also have to consider that some of the development goals, for example, if we're talking about agriculture, if we're talking about social amelioration, they don't necessarily fall. For example, pag agriculture, lahat ng programa nun ay nasa DA lamang. Or if we're talking about social amelioration, lahat yan nasa DSWD. We actually have a lot of interrelated projects. So while you may see a slash in a certain department, sometimes they're boosted by programs which fall under other departments. For example, we're talking about agriculture, in DPWH, the component in flood control now also include water catchment. So that actually comes into irrigation. So you might see a decrease in the DA, but with the increase in DPWH, interrelated pa naman po siya. And I understand there are other programs and projects that relate to convergence. So talagang there's an interplay between departments. And we leave it to the executive to propose to us through the DBM, which they feel, according to the economic managers, would be most helpful to our economy. So I think that's something lang that we should consider when looking at, it's not as simple as look at which departments are slashed. We have to consider the whole of government approach in relation to the programs and projects na pinopropose po nila. Yun na po.
Mag-add lang ako dun kay Jill, maikli lang. Tama po si Jill, no? Meron din po yung mga parang rerouting din po ng projects. Like, traditional buildings are usually not getting the same amount of funding, but mas may focus po sa green buildings, yung mga solars, may mga ganyan na po. And Siyempre, alam po natin, bitin po yung mga funding for that. But the national government is being helped out by international private agencies, saka mga nagbibigay po ng grant na other organizations in funding po yung mga said na green buildings, sustainable buildings, solar-powered buildings, yung mga ganun po na infrastructure projects as well.